Hey everyone, Nick here. I'm pretty sure most, if not all of you, are familiar with a tier list. But in case you somehow don't know, a tier list is basically a way of ranking various items from a certain topic. There are tier lists about everything. Seriously, you name it, there's a tier list of it. Tier lists started off as a trend on Twitter, but now people are creating tier lists on YouTube in the form of videos. I think it all started with iDubbbz making a tier list of fast food restaurants, but then it started to spread like wildfire, and the next thing you know, everybody is making tier lists about everything. So I decided to jump on the bandwagon with my tier list on every Power Rangers season as of now. It's important to keep in mind that most of this is my personal opinion and not anything official that the general public agrees on. I am including any official Power Ranger season, meaning it has aired on TV. So, sorry nerds, but Hyperforce still doesn't count and you cannot change my mind on that no matter what. And just like ORV's ranking of the 20 Power Ranger seasons at the time, I will be grouping the Neo Saban Super seasons with the original seasons, and treating the 3 MMPR seasons as separate seasons. And as for the Alien Rangers miniseries, well, we'll open that can of worms when we get to it. Starting with the S tier, we have Time Force, In Space, RPM, and Jungle Fury. I hope I don't need to explain why these are in the S tier. I'm pretty sure most, if not all of you, would probably put these 4 seasons in the S tier, considering these are easily some of the best seasons of Power Rangers ever. Moving on to the A tier, and starting with my personal favorite season of Power Rangers, Mystic Force. And I am not just saying that because the Red Ranger has the same name as me. I am a sucker for anything involving magic and sorcery, and I just think that Mystic Force is a very underrated Power Ranger season. I also have another personal favorite season of mine, Wild Force, since I freaking love animals, and Wild Force was the main inspiration for one of my fan-made Power Rangers teams, which I've created since I was in 6th grade, and I'm constantly making changes to it. But that's not important, by the way. I also love how almost every animal in the animal kingdom got a Zord in Wild Force, which I still don't know if it was used to continue the story of the show or to sell more merchandise. And of course, how could I forget Forever Red? Then there's Lightspeed Rescue, which I think is a little average for a Power Rangers season, although anybody can watch through it and have a great time. Plus, this season gave us the very first American exclusive Power Ranger. The most current season, Beast Morphers, despite only airing 8 episodes so far, is already off to a fantastic start. Beast Morphers is a massive change of pace and a refreshing return to form for the franchise after 8 years of the Neo Saban era. I know I said I hated super seasons in the Hasbro era in both of these videos, but the more I think about it, and after how good Beast Morphers has been so far, I actually wouldn't mind a second season. And finally, wrapping up the A tier is Zeo. Although it wasn't as successful as the first 3 seasons of MMPR, Zeo is a great continuation to the legacy that MMPR started. However, I'm not too crazy about the suits. Next is the B tier, starting with Lost Galaxy. After In Space being an epic finale to the Zordon era, Lost Galaxy felt like a bit of a step back, but with that being said, there's not a lot wrong with it. Let's follow that up with SPD. SPD is definitely one of the better seasons of the Disney era. I really like the futuristic looks of the season. I like the creature makeup. The police investigation motif is really interesting. The story and characters are great. It's everything a great Power Rangers season should be. Dino Charge and Dino Supercharge are the swan song of the Neo Saban era. After the failure of Megaforce, things can only go up from there. While Dino Charge was a surprise success, Dino Supercharge felt like a bit of a downgrade, but it was still enjoyable. Like the Age of Ultron of Power Rangers seasons, if that makes any sense. Seasons 1 and 2 of MMPR are next. I put them in the B tier because it would be very disrespectful if they were any lower on this list, as we wouldn't have Power Rangers as a franchise if it wasn't for the success of MMPR. I put Season 2 ahead of Season 1 because, in my opinion, Season 2 is the best of the MMPR seasons. Rocky, Adam, and Aisha were all very enjoyable characters, and I freaking love Tommy's return as the White Ranger. Season 1, on the other hand, while I appreciate it for spawning the legacy of Power Rangers, it's incredibly cheesy even for the standards of the early 90s. And finally, wrapping up the B tier list is Ninja Storm, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I feel like it's really fun and enjoyable, and I think it's a very solid start to the Disney era. And plus, who doesn't love ninjas? With the C tier, we have Power Rangers Samurai, which isn't really that bad. Sure, it's a copy and paste of Shinkenger, but as a Power Ranger series on its own, it's pretty decent. Even when I rewatch episodes of Samurai, I don't know why so many people don't like it, and I'm personally okay with having an unpopular opinion. Then there's MMPR Season 3, which, to be honest, is a bit of a mess, and at times is a bit hard to follow. And as for the Alien Rangers, I consider them to be a part of Season 3, since Alien Rangers was too short to be its own series, and its only purposes were to use up unused Kaku Ranger footage and to bridge the gap between MMPR and Zeo. Lastly on the C tier is Dino Thunder. Personally, I think Dino Thunder is overrated since the Rangers were high school students, their powers came from dinosaurs, and we were bringing back Tommy. It felt like a rehash of MMPR. But unlike the Neo Saban era, it was a rehash done right, and it was different enough to be its own thing. On the D tier is Turbo, since it's one of the most hated seasons. I didn't put it any lower on the list because I personally don't hate it. Sure, it had a lot of goofy fight scenes, but that was pretty much unavoidable considering it was adapting a goofy Sentai. And yes, Justin is an annoying character and an unnecessary addition to the team, but the writers tried to make him a likable character. Plus, I can't help but love the car theme. Vroom vroom. The E tier is Operation Overdrive. Just like with Turbo, I don't entirely hate this season. Considering Boukenger is one of my personal favorite Sentai series, I found at least some charm in Overdrive. But for the most part, I do agree with the popular opinion. The worldwide locations are clearly places in New Zealand. Sometimes it works, other times not so much. And that twist with Mac being an android came right the hell out of nowhere. And finally, in the F tier is the Megaforce seasons and the Ninja Steel seasons. Megaforce and Super Megaforce were waste of anniversary seasons, and the Ninja Steel seasons never treated themselves like Power Ranger seasons. I got that all on the first take, yeah! But to be fair, it's not that long of a line, so it's not really that hard to get it on the first take. And there you have it, my personal ranking of every Power Ranger season in the form of a tier list. How would you rank them? Would you rank them any differently than I did? Feel free to let me know in the comments below. That's going to do it for this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, as always, until next time, see ya. You know, Movie Critic's version of this list, he included Hyperforce for stupid reasons, and he should not have done that because it's not a real season. And also, for some reason, he includes the movies, even though this is a ranking of the Power Rangers TV seasons. You suck, Movie Critic! Okay, I'm not going to include that in the final version. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm definitely going to include that in the final version.